Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew Cherico, and I'm here with Clay Pasco. Welcome back to another episode of Up All Night, episode 10. And we have a very special guest here joining us. Christian, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Christian Simmons from the Pegasus Podcast. I'm the second host from my podcast to get to come on the show. I think fellow host Bailey Adams beat me by a couple months there, but yeah, that is who I am, the second host for the Pegasus Podcast to be on the show. Very excited to be here.
So, elephant in the room. What a week that was, guys. What a game that was against TCU. Just starting that out right away. Yeah, that was interesting. Almost died and got back to life over and over again. But it was a fun time. Cardiac nights. Charge on. Clay, how you feeling?
Feel good. I'm worried I might not make it to 30 years old if UCF continues to play like this. I can't handle it. I feel good though. We won. At the end of the day, win's a win. Doesn't matter how we won. So I'm happy.
Yeah, I think that there are UCF losses I had more fun watching than that game, which I'm happy UCF won, but I actually don't know if I've ever gone from the first second of a game to the last second of a game and not enjoyed 1 second of it like I did that one.
To be fair, the fourth quarter was extremely exciting, but everything else before that was just torture and hell. Like if I God forbid, if I went to hell, I just expect to watch the same 3 quarters of that game over and over and over again for eternal damnation. That's what I would expect it to be. And for anybody watching at home, if you didn't realize, change of background. I'm in New York currently at the hotel, but Up All Night does not stop for anybody. So Clay,
except what I did last week. Up All Night does not stop unless it's last week. So we have the Hot Wheel, but unfortunately, my what I screen mirror is not working, so we're just gonna have to do the old-fashioned way and just actually talk instead of spinning a wheel, and that's really boring. But anyways, for our first topic, we're gonna go ahead and introduce it now. That's gonna be: is RJ Harvey a legit Heisman contender for this year, for the 2024 year? Is there any reality where RJ is a top 6, top 5 finalist?
Yeah, I'll let Christian answer first.
Yeah, I think the highest UCF's ever gotten would be 6 with Milton in 2018. And there's 2 answers to this question. The first answer is, should he be and will he be? Should he be? I'm there. I absolutely am there. I mean, I actually, what's crazy is that this whole offseason, all the hype around running backs to the Big 12 was Ollie Gordon, right? And a little bit of Devin Neal, a little bit of Taj Brooks. RJ Harvey was just totally off the map. He's far and away been the best running back in the Big 12 through 3 games. I think he is a legit contender for best running back in the country and will be as the year goes on. Will he get there for Heisman? My pessimistic mind is going to say no, in part just because I think even running backs on the very best, most popular teams in college football don't necessarily get there. It's just not a position that gets that kind of hype. But I don't know. Some about that TCU game, it seemed like for the first time he was starting to become a national name, which is something we just haven't seen from him before, even though he's deserved that. So I think the hype's going to grow. I think he can get into that sort of the edge of that conversation.
Absolutely. 2 points you made right there. First one, it's his name growing at a national level. More and more people are learning about RJ Harvey. And when we tweet on Twitter, get ready to learn RJ Harvey, people are understanding. And secondly, I completely agree about the Heisman and if he's running backs can even get there. Historically, it's almost like the NFL MVP award. It's primarily a QB dominant award. And it's just something that skill positions don't see as often. And it's unfortunate because there have been plenty of times where skill positions have been more than deserving for that award and honor. But in my opinion, this UCF offense is nothing without RJ Harvey. I don't care how deep that running back room is. You can have Penny Boone, Miles Montgomery, and Johnny Richardson taking the same amount of snaps. RJ Harvey is the clear number 1 player on this football team. And if UCF gets anywhere near conference championship contention, RJ Harvey should be in that Heisman talk.
But kind of segueing the next thing is did KJ Jefferson, did he prove us wrong? Did he prove you wrong? I mean, I know, Christian, I know you weren't panicking over his New Hampshire performance, which is really strange coming from you, but what do you think? Did he prove you wrong? Did he prove the entire UCF? Did he prove the college football fan base wrong?
Yeah, no, I think it was a really just great moment of validating for me to learn that I'll never be wrong about anything ever again because I didn't freak out after KJ had the worst game of his career against New Hampshire. But honestly, he exceeded my expectations in that game. And I think the main difference, the main thing that stood out to me was that even after the New Hampshire game, which was something, my hope was that he could just get to the point where he would be average, that he's just a game manager who can go out there and not hurt the offense and open things up for the running game, help Kobe get some big catches. And what changed was when they were mounting that comeback in the fourth quarter, you sort of have this moment where you realize, okay, UCF has a fifth-year senior with years of experience starting in the SEC at quarterback, and it showed. It was a clutch moment. It was him not panicking and him making big plays exactly when they were needed, and just with a couple big shots to Kobe. And I think he proved people wrong more than just, oh, okay, he can have a good game, and more just that when the biggest moments are there, I don't know if they're going to face more adversity this year than being down 31-13 or 28-7 on the road. When those moments arise, he can step up into that moment. And there's honestly no more you can ask that you would want from a starting quarterback than them stepping up in those moments.
All right. And segueing off of that, let's to be completely honest, I may need to sign the KJ Jefferson apology form. After the New Hampshire game, I was worried. And to be fair, not trying to listen to too much rumors and speculation, but there was talks about him struggling during camp. Many reporters seen it. It was just a common trend. And we heard about Ja'Cory Brown possibly stepping up for that role. And seeing KJ come out and struggle the way he did against a New Hampshire defense, not an FBS of New Hampshire. New Hampshire, that's what it is. And then seeing a semi-better performance against Sam Houston, I had no clue what to expect coming into TCU. He could have came out and threw 3 interceptions, 100 passing yards, and I'd be like, okay. And then what he did yesterday, I'm like, oh, wow. So it was more of just like, I had no clue going into the game what I should expect. But you ever see that meme where the guy's like sitting back in the chair and then it's like fourth quarter time and he kind of has to sit up? It's like, all right, it's time to lock in. That was like an accurate representation in my head of watching KJ that game, especially into the second half. He just stepped up, made some big time throws. And if he can play like he did against TCU, especially in the second half, I think UCF is going to have a very good season.
Undefeated?
No.
I'm not going. I think it just really gives us a lesson on listening to how players perform in practice and in fall camp. Look at Mackenzie Milton. All it kind of said, yeah, he was terrible in practice. Like he was not good, and then he would just go out and just be insane on the field. This year, we were told, yeah, DJU is going to be a top 10 quarterback. He's going to be the best quarterback in the ACC. He's going to take Florida State to the playoff. Like he's balling out in practice. The entire Florida State team is balling out in practice. This is going to be a playoff contender. Well, look at what happened. Look what's going on. So I try not to put too much merit in default what fall camp reports are saying, or what summer practice. And same thing with coming out early against an FCS opponent. A lot of people forget, and I hate when people say this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. Oh, Mackenzie Milton threw 3 picks against SC State. You can't really get a true gauge on how good a quarterback is until they play a real opponent. And KJ didn't play a real opponent until last weekend, and he played pretty well. So
I think one thing we forget sometimes too with quarterbacks, or really just college football players in general, is we always try to define the whole season through the game that just happened, and we're all guilty of it. We do it all the time. It's like you have, and at the end of the day, it's 12 games is just not a long season, and you're dealing with a bunch of mostly 18 to 22-year-olds. I think KJ's out of that range since he's been in college for a while, but it's just weird stuff happens. And yeah, it's hard to take a practice from fall camp even and say that shows what's going to happen, but we just do it because we work with what we have and we extrapolate things.
Yeah, the recency bias, I would say, in college football is, I think, one of the worst out of all the sports that are played. But at the same time, we're hearing Coach Gus Malzahn saying, oh, that was his first rodeo out here as a Knight. And a guy who's been in college for 4+ years now, SEC trained, SEC pro, and going out and putting up a sticker against New Hampshire, fans had reason to worry. I wouldn't say there was no reason to worry at all.
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. In 3, special teams this weekend. Is it time? Should we be panicking? Is there something to be held? Should we? Is this scary? Or is it back to last year where I'm fearing just basic kicks and kickoffs and punt? I mean, punting was fine. Mitch McCarthy did pretty well, but boom, is this a Colton? Do we have another Colton Boomer problem on our hands?
I don't mean to interrupt anybody. I would say I was never more scared for an extra point in my life on that last one. I was like, it's just gonna be so UCF for it to get blocked. Again, what would there have been? 4 blocked attempts in one game? 3 blocked attempts in one game is scary. The 2 faults that I saw, the O-line was imploding, and Colton Boomer was kicking it low. It took him a while to get the ball off, and when he did get it off, it was just extremely low. We all know that Colton Boomer went through his, as Coach Gus Malzahn says, yips last year. Because Colton Boomer in that Boise State game was the best kicker anybody's ever seen in the history of college football. But now it's like we don't know what we're getting with Boomer. It's almost like another question mark on this team. Like we don't know what we're getting with one game, and then Boomer's good, and then bang comes out this game and struggles. I hope this is something he works through because they weren't okay. I don't know how to put it in the terms that they were misses. They did miss, but they weren't like left or right of the uprights. They were blocked. They never even touched the field goal post. So maybe that would still leave some confidence in him. If it was going to get off, it would have went in. That's all I'm hoping for. I just don't see misses left and right come Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny because I'm thinking back to the end of last season when Boomer's problems had started, and I want to say I know that there's talk that he might have been injured for some of that and all of that, but I remember thinking, wow, it can't get worse than this. You know, he's missing extra points or he's not accurate on field goals. I can't imagine it would get worse than this. I never imagined UCF would come back the next year and now just can't even get the ball off for a field goal or a PAT. And I'm joking a little bit because I'm not as in panic mode about it as some other people are, because I think that's something that tends to be fixable. I think this also might be a situation where it's such a small sample size now. We might look back on the season and TCU did that to a lot of people. They just have a really, really strong unit. But it's a problem. It's probably one of the most tangible problems we can come out of that game with. And it's tough to kind of toe the line between, woohoo, UCF won in this crazy comeback and that's awesome, but also like, hey, they're going to need to like make PATs this year to have any kind of season. And so it's alarm bells. I think that I'm reserving being straight up worried unless that happens against Colorado. They have a kick blocked against Colorado, and this is just a theme for the season, which is not what anyone wants.
No. Yeah, I would say that's the first time I've seen a ball, like in watching football live, seeing a kick get blocked 3 times in one game.
Yeah.
Clay, what about you?
What's about too is I've never watched a college football game up until my time at UCF and was worried about making extra points. I'm just gonna leave that there. And in my entire life of watching college football, I was never like, I'm worried this guy's gonna miss his extra point. I'm worried. No. And then now it's something I have to worry about. Like, oh, there's not a very good chance, but there's a possibility, which is something that shouldn't even be considered, that this kicker misses the extra point.
I feel like Daniel Obarski prepared me well for this, to be honest. Like it's not entirely uncharted territory, but it is weird when your team is lining up for a PAT that if they make it, they take the lead with 30 seconds to go. And I'm like on my knees, hands clutched across my chest, like, oh my God, I don't know if he's going to be able to hit this. It's a weird spot to be in.
Exactly.
But speaking of the game, you were there, Christian. And I feel like being negative right now. So we're kind of gonna combine this with a weekly nightmare and do takeaways. All right, your main negative takeaway. All right, that UCF needs to improve on going into Colorado. What was the worst takeaway from the TCU game? I'll go and start with you.
My main bad takeaway from the TCU game, and for a game that UCF won, there were some options. Is that we just watched a game where UCF's defense, which we believe to be very improved from last year, which I still believe to be very improved from last year because they do have linebackers on the roster now, and that's great. A defense that we believe to be very improved had a very, very difficult time, basically was incapable of stopping a really strong quarterback to wide receiver connection, and that defense is now a week and a half away from facing Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. That would be my absolute worst takeaway from that game. Is I actually don't know how they're going to handle that after what we just saw against TCU.
Andrew?
There's 2 things that are alarming to me. I would say the first is that, fact check me if I'm wrong, I believe we've had 1 or 2 sacks in 3 games, and 2 of those games were versus New Hampshire and Sam Houston. Now, I understand the counter argument that those 2 teams are getting 3-step dropbacks and getting the ball out quickly, but is the team missing John Walker right now badly? We're not getting to the quarterback. There's not a lot of pressure being put on. And when you're giving the quarterback all this time, the DBs can't hold on forever. And that's what allowed, going to my next point, Jack Besh to have 200 receiving yards and 9 receptions in that game and was dominating the UCF defense. And Savion Williams, which some amazing grabs that game. I was mind-blown for some of them. So the pressure is scary.
Yeah, I agree with you, both of you. Just the defense, it's weird. I wanted to write an article, but I didn't because I was like, what if this ages badly? And I'm just, being superstitious, right? And I asked, I was like, hey, what if I wrote, a kind of a piece about how last year we faced really good rushing attacks week to week, and our rushing defense got exposed. And then this year, there's a possible scenario where we face the best passing attacks and our corners get exposed, and we, go from having a great rush defense to just a bad pass defense. And I was like, I'm just being superstitious. It's fine. We've improved on the defense. And I'm like, I was low-key right. I might be right. We might, facing the best passing offenses in the conference, we just might not have great corners. Might. Not saying we are. There's a very good chance that our corners are going to get exposed. And what really irked me, and I was talking to Christian earlier about this, was when Mac McWilliams got hurt, came off the field, and true sophomore Antoine Jackson was covering Jack Besh, their number one receiver. You're letting the backup corner, not even that, but just like get some double coverage on this guy going. Do something. It seemed like we didn't make any adjustments at halftime defensively. And what I was telling Christian is that I don't really feel like we won this game as much as TCU just made some terrible coaching decisions, didn't adjust either, and we were just able to get really lucky and make some big plays and win the game. I feel like TCU lost the game more than we won it.
I think that a lot of what happened this offseason is just playing a role here too, because I know everyone had different viewpoints on this, but some people were wrong and I was correct, is that Ted Roof was a weird hire. The decision to demote Addison Williams was one thing. Replacing him with a Gus Buddy hire was an odd choice, and it had some people freaked out all summer. And when you get to the first game against a legitimate opponent and the defense immediately has massive problems across multiple parts of the unit, I don't know. It sort of like feeds worries that were already there,
Not to bring up bad memories, but we still don't have an answer on the task of distribution of tasks.
Distribution of tasks, we're still waiting.
Distribution of tasks between Ted Roof and Addison. I want to know what they're doing separately that may need to be answered very soon, because if the defense continues to play like this, there will be many more questions.
I want to know what the distribution of tasks on this game was, because whatever it was just not good enough. I don't know what they're doing. But, anyway, that's just, takeaways from TCU game that I hope are improved. We have a little game I want to play. All right, so Christian, you love uniforms. You love a good UCF uniform. Andrew, you too. Andrew, you too. All right.
Fair.
So you guys ever heard of bench cut, or I'm sorry, start bench cut, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Well, this one was a version of that. It said, I'm taking out bench. You don't even get the bench. You either start it or you cut it. All right, I'm going to give you guys 10 uniforms. All right. And without knowing what the next one will be, you have to choose either start or cut the uniform. All right. There's 5 starts, 5 cuts. All right. So I'm going to go and present you these uniforms. And just so you know, you guys are going to hate what you say. So this is our first uniform combo. Are you starting this combo, or are you cutting it? You cutting this combo?
Start. Huge start. One of the best things they have. One of the best things they have.
I like start. I think Brian W. Peterson will be a little bit more of a fan of this than more recent uniform combos. I like the start. here.
All right. And by the way,
and I'm going off a pure uniform look. I'm not going off of the importance of the game. Not going off of who won, who lost. Just straight look.
Well, for the record, that's the only. I don't have patience for the people who are like, they can't wear that again because they lost in it. That's ridiculous. If they look great, they look great. That is one of the best combos they have. And I just got to say, switching to the new gold helmet for 2023 was such a revelation for what they can do with their uniforms. It's just such a sharper, more legitimate gold than the old gold they used. And I had no issues with the old gold they used. I thought it was great. I had no idea how much better it could be, and I love it now. And it's just the way the helmet plays off the gold numbers is just awesome. It's a very UCF look. It's just, I love that one. It's one of my favorites.
And by the way, for those listening, it's night mode with the gold helmets that we wore against Kent State last year. So they're both choosing to start. All right. So just so you know, you have 9 more uniform combinations. You have no idea what they're going to be. So be careful with what you choose to start. Yeah. Okay. And one's to cut. This is the next uniform combination right here. The anthracite helmets? Pewter. Is that what this is? Pewter helmets. So the pewter helmets, white uniforms. This is, of course, could be either a home or away look. How are we feeling? Are we going to start this, or are we going to cut this combo?
So this is a start. They wore this for FAU in 2019. This is one of my favorite things they've worn. I was a big pewter guy. You probably know that if you followed me on social media for any amount of time. And this was, it's kind of like we used to call this like one of their Oakland Raiders looks almost, because it's kind of a similar play on it. And I'm sad that pewter's gone, because I love what they have now, but it's just, when your primary color is black, and that's a color that every single team can wear, and when your secondary color is gold, which doesn't work as a jersey, you need some kind of other alternate in there to break things up. And Pewter in particular just worked so well with UCF as the Knights. Like this is just such a shining combo from the chrome gold decal on the silver helmets. It just feels like a Knight look, you know. And I love this one.
This is a sad
Andrew,
this is a sad cut for me.
I'm leaving. I'm out.
It's I don't know. Like I like them. Don't get me wrong. I like them. They're just missing that it factor for me. Except the helmets are really nice. The helmets, I would say, are 10 out of 10. I'm just not the biggest fan of the combo on the jersey and the pants. Not the biggest fan. Feels a little bit
okay.
You know what?
Okay.
I respect your opinion.
Even though it's wrong. All right.
Even though it's wrong.
Next uniform combo. Our Gasparilla Bowl, gold helmet, black Pegasus uniform, black pants. Why do we feel this combo, Andrew? Are we starting it or are we cutting it?
Oh, I'm a fan. Give me a start. I like it.
Start.
I like it. I'm
Christian?
a big fan of the black and gold.
Did you just intentionally pick all their best? Like, I'm not gonna bench or cut or whatever we're doing gold.
You have to. That's the game. That's the game.
This is the. We've talked about this since 2018. This combo right here is the UCF combo. This is if you just imagine UCF in your head. This is what they're wearing.
It's so
the black Pegasus jerseys, the gold helmet with the white stack decal. That is UCF.
I just feel like it's so like what you said is so go-to. It looks fantastic. It doesn't mess up the color scheme. Like I said, Pewter was a sad cut for me, but I feel like we have some other good ones in store.
I think I have to cut. I think I have to cut whatever's next, right? Just mathematically to keep myself.
I
only have 3 starts left.
Yeah, you guys are just wasting all your starts away. All right. Next uniform comp. This is a concept uniform. All right, where we wore throwbacks with the Lance logo, gold uniform. All right.
Yeah.
Andrew, how are we feeling? We started recutting it.
It's not terrible. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not like when you think of all gold, it just in the mind it doesn't look right. But then it kind of like I don't mind it, but I'm gonna have to go with a cut. It's just it's not the best. I've seen better. And knowing my starts available, I can't start this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the easiest cut of my life. And the point I want to make to people looking at this right now is this is a concept. This is not a real uniform. And the thing that people, hey, Brian Peterson, if you're listening, the thing that people don't understand about the gold jerseys is they make images like this and say, look how cool that would look. That gold is not replicable on a real jersey texture. And if you don't believe me and you're listening to this or watching this, I challenge you right now to go on your phone, go to Google and just Google college football gold jerseys and find me a single one that looks good. You're not going to find one. They all look khaki or they all look like lemonade. There isn't a way to replicate that color on a jersey.
Yeah.
So easy cut. We're back in it.
If they were able to do this jersey though and have it look just like this, I wouldn't be that opposed to it.
Okay, now like where you guys are going. All right, next light mode. Are we starting it or are we cutting it? I mean, we're against Kansas. I'm not a fan personally. I don't like the gold numbers or the gold lettering. But hey, this is your guys' team, not mine.
Christian,
so Andrew,
I'll let you go first. No, I'll let
Christian.
Go first this one.
So I just have to say, I have to point out part of this uniform is that this was from the photo shoot, and as you can see, the area code bumper, they did replace that with a white bumper for the game. So this wasn't all
got it.
White and gold. But look, no one in the entire planet cares about that except me, but I had to say it. Listen, I like light mode. I do. I think it's the weakest of the 4, but I like it. I think it looks. I think particularly, I was talking about this with you, Clay, before we started recording. Is that whenever I'm trying to get after someone on social media about UCF uniforms, it's such a great one to use because it just looks so awesome in the photos. I am going to do a sad cut for this one because I'm running out of starts. And I feel like this is the least controversial one for me to cut. And I'll be so upset if I have to cut something good later. So we're going with a sad cut on light mode.
Yeah. I would say in terms of white uniforms, I have seen better. I just feel like when you say it's like white, it's just too bright. You know what I'm saying? There's not enough contrast. The gold, like if it was like a little black outline around the gold, which we have seen before, I'll be a fan. But cut for me.
Okay, 2 cuts. All right, I would have cut this one too.
How many starts do I have left? 3, right? 3?
Yeah, I think you've already started 2. So
yeah,
and then Christian has 2 left. So
yeah.
Okay.
Number 6, the Orcas, the UCF Orcas. Are we gonna? I really like this uniform. Brian Peterson does not. But the Orcas, I debuted against New Hampshire. I love it. I think it's one of our best looks. Andrew, I'm gonna go to you. We started this or we cutting it?
If you saw my live Twitter feed on the game against New Hampshire, those uniforms were absolutely beautiful. They're a start for me. I'm a big fan of black primary. I feel like black primary just goes well with a lot of uniforms. That's a start for me. I have 2 left.
Yeah, this is a big start for me too. I think there's a case to be made, and this is tough because they've done a lot of them, but I think there's a case to be made. This is the best blackout in UCF history. There's a couple things at play here. First off, the white face mask should not make that much of a difference for a combo, but it completely changes the look. You compare this to a blackout with a black face mask, and the way the white face mask brings out the numbers, brings out the decals, it just changes the look entirely. And there's also UCF switched to a darker black helmet a couple years ago, and that's really helped the blackouts too. And it's a good look, man. It's a really freaking good look. I don't like, and this combo got more national attention than almost anything UCF's worn outside of space the last couple of years. Like this one took off, so I could never cut it. I never could.
And I'm saving my 2 starts for. So where's the space uniforms, Clay?
So I think that brings us to our next uniform. All right, the space 2023 space uniforms. That is, be careful, Christian. You have 1 start left, and we still have 3 more uniforms to go. So Andrew. Go ahead.
I'm such a fan of space uniforms. I think it's one of the better rebrands in all of, or I would say not gimmick brands, but like just fun alternatives in all of college football. I'm a big fan. This was one of the first ones I've seen live, and I'm just a fan. Give me a start. I know I only have 2 more, but I only have 1 more start after this, but give it to me.
Okay, Christian.
I don't like this game.
So like,
I'm not a fan.
When they first came out, not a lot of people were happy, and then I seen them in person. They're like, all right, they're good.
So this is why I'm torn, because you're right. When they and I have a theory on uniforms that so much of the general fan base's opinion of them is just how the team is doing, because those uniforms dropped in the middle of the losing streak because they dropped them a couple weeks before the game, and people were like, they've lost it. This isn't good, blah, blah, blah. And then they beat Oklahoma State in them, and everyone's like, best space uniforms of all time. Like, it's just kind of, you sort of, and I'm going to very, very sadly go with cut, which I love these. I think these are great. And I'm going to justify my cut in 2 ways. The first way is that it's not the best space uniform of all time. I would probably, it's one of the best though. I'd probably have 2 ahead of it. I would probably put 2021 ahead of it and maybe 2018. So I'm going to justify it that way. And also I'm really afraid that there's going to be some cool combo that I don't think.
Those better not be the next ones, I swear.
There's going to be some stupid uniform.
All right, I'm not going to lie. Now looking at this list, a lot of these have been better than the pewter uniforms. Gotta say.
Wow. Breaking my
heart.
heart.
A lot of these have been better.
All right. What we wore against West Virginia last year, the white helmet with the white face mask and the black Pegasus jersey and white pants.
I would say this is my easiest cut on the list.
Okay.
Not a fan.
Andrew's not even going to explain himself. All right, Christian.
Andrew, what if I told you that there's a duck shimmering in the decal?
Yeah, there's a duck in the decal.
Doesn't do it for me. I have 1 more start left.
Andrew's like, we're making business decisions. Like we're at the end of the game. It's just
this is not like, okay, a little duck in the decal. Like we had really cool decals last week. And those were awesome.
They didn't have a duck, but
not last week. Was it last week? I forget. I'm getting short-term memory loss. When they with the kids from the Arnold Palmer Children's Hospital. So I guess Sam Houston. Yeah. Those were awesome. The duck decal. Cool for the Spirit Splash gimmick, but nah, not a fan.
That could have been a diabolical thing you could have done, Clay, is put the decals from the Sam Houston game last and see if I'm out of starts and make me have one of the most meaningful and beautiful uniforms I've ever done. But yeah, I'm going to stick with Andrew. I'm going to go with the cut for this one. It's good. I like white, black, white every now and then. It's just not one of the more spectacular things they wear. It's just a solid uniform.
Okay. Agreed. All right. Glad that you guys. The all whites from this past weekend. All right. The reverse orca.
All right.
Andrew.
So going off of Clay's diabolicalness, he probably has these and then the 2021 space uniforms. Are these the last ones or no?
No, there's 1 more.
There's 1 more. You see? And I just know that's his plan. And I can't skip those.
Or there's a different uniform combo that we wore in 2013.
He's just making that. He's making that up.
I swear to God.
He's making that up.
A certain Warren I-4 uniform.
I'm a big fan of, like, you see, remember when we were talking about the whiteout ones?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of like the color letters with like an outline on them. I couldn't just take the all gold. It looked too bright, looked too loud. I'm a bigger fan of these, but just the chance of having a space. If this is like the worst uniform combo of all time coming up, I'm gonna be very mad at you. But
By the way, I'm gonna go ahead and say right now, not a space uniform next. I will guarantee you that.
Okay, so give me. All right, you know what? Screw it. Give me a start. I'm a fan.
I'm ready to burn my last start on this. This is the type of combo that the new white uniforms are made for, right? These are very streamlined, minimalist style uniforms, and just a clean whiteout like this, nothing in your face, just straight up all black, all white, just looked so good. This is another look that the white face mask really elevated. I loved this. I think that this has been, these three uniforms for 3 games has been one of their strongest starts to a season in a minute, and I couldn't have caught this. So I'm happy to use my last start on this, pending whatever the heck is coming next.
Clay's laughing diabolically.
I'm worried.
Okay, I know you guys used up your 5 starts. I don't know if we should even see the last slide now.
Just put it on.
All right, fine. Your final is the 2018 Cincinnati game day uniforms, man. Listen, Christian said this was his number 1 uniform on his article he wrote, and I just wanted to put it in last to see if he would burn up all of his starts before then. But yeah, no, the 2018. I think this might be my favorite uniform combo of all time too. I would have started it, but obviously I don't think Christian likes it enough to have started it. He obviously didn't know it was coming last. So just want to put on the record, Christian chose to bench this or chose to cut it. He willingly chose to cut this.
See, this I don't like, Clay.
I will be making a Twitter post saying that he cut this uniform combo. So that he supposedly said he loved.
You literally before we recorded said, "Oh, I was going through your rankings you did of all your uniforms," and no part of my brain was like, I was just like, "Oh, cool, nice."
Like, of the black and gold combo, this is ideal. This is almost perfection. Like that one Homelander, perfection down to the last.
It's a damn good uniform, and I'm very sad both you guys cut it.
Outline against the white letters, the gold on gold uniform helmet, the black. Face mask, it's great. It's good as anything other black and gold schools have ever done.
You guys should have trusted me.
I have to live with my decisions.
You guys shouldn't have trusted me, but man, I think that about wraps everything up, doesn't it? We learned a lot from Christian today. I don't know if he's ever going to come back on the show, but anyways, no, thank you, Christian, for coming on, even on a delay. We love the show. Pegasus Podcast is one of the biggest inspirations for the show. Don't tell Trey Stroko that. Yeah, I'm feeling a little tired, Andrew. How about you?
Oh yeah, I've had an extremely long train ride. I had issues checking into the hotel, so I'm ready to knock out.
Yeah, I think I could use some coffee. I'm actually gonna go play some basketball, so I will update you guys on that. 0 points scored, 0 assists, 20 minutes played.
Straight cardio.
Yeah, straight out there at cardio. But I can't say that on here. But anyways, I think we've officially been up all night. Goodbye, everyone.
All right, thank you, everyone. Have a good night.